Now we are going to start with the chemical properties of alkane, right? So we have some important chemical properties of alkane, so just have a look. It's a substitution reaction, an oxidation, fragmentation, aromatization and isomerization. Before starting this chemical properties, I just want to recall the fact that alkanes are actually called paraffins, and you also know that what is the reason behind that they are called as paraffins. The reason is that they are almost stable compound, and they have low affinity to react with some other substance, right? So the most of the reaction which like these reactions which they show these kind of reactions occur at the special conditions, that is the high temperature and the high pressure. So you have to keep in mind that otherwise the alkanes do not have any affinity to react, but still they are doing it because we are providing them with special conditions, that is the high temperature, high pressure, a catalyst, like that. So just see look in these properties that what special conditions we are providing them, right? So the first is the substitution reaction. The first reaction which we are taking into account is the substitution reaction. What is substitution reaction? Substitution reaction is actually, suppose I will give you an example. Suppose you have a chemistry teacher teaching you in a school, but someday she is absent. So what is going to happen? The principal is going, or a coordinator is going to arrange a teacher for your this thing, for that particular period, that she should come and she should at least take that period of yours, right? So at that time that teacher is not your chem teacher, right? Your chemistry teacher is actually absent, but that teacher is substituting the chemistry teacher, right? So that is something called as substitution, that one is gone and the other is substituting it, right? So like that the alkanes actually show a substitution reaction. They cannot show an addition reaction. They cannot add anything to them because they all are they have only a single bond between them. So if we talk about the reaction, that whether the substitution reaction can occur or an addition can occur, so it is clear that the only substitution reaction can occur, that some hydrogen is replaced and some other you can say a group is replacing that hydrogen. That can happen actually, right? So the first reason is that you should know actually that substitution reactions are shown by the alkanes. They cannot show addition reaction because they don't have any additional bond. Keep in mind. So but they can show substitution reaction, that means they can lose their H, and or you can say they can replace their hydrogen atoms with some other groups, and you can say leading to a substitution reaction. This can happen actually. So now we are going to see that what kind of substitution reaction can occur in case of alkanes. So the first reaction what I am going to do is, we are going to do is halogenation. Now what do we mean by halogenation? When we are substituting with an halogen, that is with fluorine, chlorine, bromine or iodine, we say that is halogenation. That is the substitution which is shown in which the hydrogen atom is replaced by an halogen, that is called as halogenation. So the commonly observed halogenation is actually for alkane is chlorination. You know that alkanes have so much capability to undergo chlorination, that this kind of reaction occur in the diffuse sunlight. So see how it occurs. Suppose this is my methane, we add chlorine, this is diffuse light. So this H is being replaced by chlorine and we get HCl. As you can see that it has more H which can be replaced by Cl, right? So the reaction won't stop here, it will continue as such. So then what happens? This methyl chloride, the more chlorine gets attached and we get CH2Cl2 plus HCl. Again it has got two replaceable hydrogen atoms, right? So we will be replacing it, we get CHCl3 plus HCl. Then again one H is left, so we can replace it also. So what as a result we get? Carbon tetrachloride. So as you can see that the reaction is not stopping at one step, it goes on occurring actually, and we get different kind of products you can see here, right? So now in CCl4, that is carbon tetrachloride, which is a good lab reagent, you can see that there is no hydrogen left, right? There is no replaceable hydrogen left, so the reaction will stop at this place. Right. So this is what is the chlorination of alkane, and you should know actually that this reaction occur in presence of diffuse sunlight. As I told you that the reactions which are shown by alkanes are actually occurring at special conditions, that is the high temperature and the high pressure. But in this case, as you can see that this reaction is means, or you can say that methane has ability to undergo chlorination because the reaction is occurring in presence of diffuse sunlight. This is very important. Likewise, we can do bromination. What is bromination? As the name suggests, it is the substitution which is done by, instead of Cl2 we use Br2. So likewise, it will be similar to this, that it will keep on occurring till the replaceable hydrogen atoms are there, but the rate of occurrence is something slow. Like this occurred, this is as compared to this reaction is fast, and this bromination is somehow slow. Likewise, we can do iodination, that means replacing hydrogen with iodine. Same. I'll do an example. Suppose I have CH4, I'm going to add I2. What do I get? We get CH3I and we get HI. The reaction stops here. The reaction do not proceed further, like here the reaction proceeds in different steps and we got different or you can say all the hydrogen atoms were replaced. But for iodination it occurs very less rapid, so the reaction stops at this particular step. And you know that in this reaction we actually use iodic acid. And the reason for using iodic acid is that it prevents the reversibility of the reaction. Actually, it combines with hydrogen iodide so that the reversible reaction won't occur, right? So this is actually iodination. You must be thinking that I am explaining you chlorination, bromination, iodination, and as I told you that alkanes have ability to undergo chlorination. So why am I not discussing about fluorine, right? So if we compare the reactivity, so the fluorine must be more reactive than chlorine, because as I have told you that chlorine, alkane react with chlorine in presence of light, so that means the reaction with fluorine must be you can say a very good one, right. So it is like that if we talk about fluorination, the reaction is too fast, but the reaction is so fast that it leads to the rupture of even CC and CH bond. Right, so that means we don't prefer fluorination actually, because it actually the reaction or you can say the alkanes have so affinity to combine with fluorine that even the rupture of CC and CH bond also occur and the rate is too high. So that means if we talk about the rate which is of constructive use, so that is the chlorination, right. So this is what is the halogenation, that is the chlorination, bromination, iodination and the fluorination, that is only that falls under the halogenation. Now, if I talk about the you can say the affinity for being halogenated, that means substituting the hydrogen atom with the halogens. So we see that tertiary tertiary alkanes show they are more reactive as compared to secondary and they are more reactive as compared to primary. The reason being that they have more number of, as they will have more number of replaceable hydrogen atom, even we know that the rate of reaction is obviously going to increase, or you can say the affinity is going to increase. Likewise, we have the rate according to the halogens. So fluorine react very rapidly, then chlorine, then bromine and then iodine. So this is actually the rate at which the halogens react with the alkanes, and this is actually the order in which you can say the alkanes react with the halogens. So this is what is the halogenation. But the substitution reaction doesn't stop here, because we have few more reactions. So likewise, I am showing you the sulfonation. Now what is sulfonation? This must be striking your mind that as we did halogenation, again it is same like that. We are going to replace that hydrogen atom with the sulfonic group. Now what is sulfonation? What we are going to add here? Suppose this is my alkane. For sulfonation I need to add sulfuric acid. For sulfonation I need to add sulfuric acid. And what happens when it reacts actually, which group gets attached? The group sulfonic group, that is SO3H, is going to get attached. Actually you need to be well versed with that when you are adding some compound, then which the group is going to attack or which group is not going to attack. So keep in mind, whenever you are showing a substitution reaction with sulfuric acid, the sulfonic group, that is the SO3H, is going to attack that. So we will get R dot SO3H and this thing, see I'll write here. So what do we have is SO3H and we are left with HO. So what do we get here? We get H2. So this is actually alkane sulfonic acid. It is alkane sulfonic acid. So this sulfonation is not shown, mostly not shown by all alkanes. It is actually shown by the alkanes which have you can say carbon number 6 or more than that. So sulfonation is actually shown by the alkanes which possess the carbon, at least 6 carbon in the chain or more than that, but not the lower alkanes do not show this kind of reaction. So we are done with sulfonation as well. Third is nitration. That means we are going to substitute here the hydrogen with the nitro group. So suppose I have the alkane, I will write here so that you should know that from where to start the nitration. So this is nitration. So in nitration what we do is we add nitrous acid, or sorry, we add nitric acid, or you can say that actually the group gets attached in this way. So you may write in this form also. So whenever you react with nitric acid, then this group, this NO2 group actually replace the hydrogen and we get nitroalkane with water. So this is my nitroalkane. What I have to do here to make the reaction happen? I need to boil the mixture. That means when I am adding the nitric acid, the fuming nitric acid to an alkane, I need to boil the mixture, and as a result what is going to happen, the nitro group is going to attach, or you can say substitute the hydrogen, and like accordingly we will get the product that is called as nitroalkane. Now the question is that, or a very important property of alkane is that, suppose I have alkane, I am adding nitric acid, but I am doing this nitration in a vapor phase. This is actually called as vapor phase nitration. So when you are doing vapor phase nitration, actually you get mixture of alkanes. You get mixture of alkanes. So I'll write here, we get mixtures of alkanes. Let me show you with example that how. Suppose I have this alkane, let's say propane. This is my propane. I am going to perform a vapor phase nitration, right? So what I am going to get is, I am going to get the mixture. So just look at the board that what kind of mixture do you get. First product which we get is the nitropropane. That means hydrogen is being replaced by the NO2 group. Along with that we get an isomer for that. This is actually 2-nitropropane, right? So this is nitropropane, this is 2-nitropropane. It is not limited to only 2 products, we get more product along with that. What do we get? This actually, the bonds also get break actually. So what do we get? We also get nitroethane and we also get nitromethane. So that means when you are performing a vapor phase nitration, you get a different variety of the products. As you can see, then when I perform this vapor phase nitration on propane, I got nitropropane, I got 2-nitropropane, I got nitroethane, and as well as I got nitromethane. So this is what is the substitution reaction. I think you got it. It is generally a reaction in which the hydrogen atom is being replaced by the some group of atoms, or some atom or some group of atoms, whatever you can call that. And we have seen halogenation, we have seen the sulfonation, and we have seen the nitration. This is very important, that when you are performing vapor phase nitration, actually you get the mixtures. So this is very important. Even this is very important. You may encounter a question like that show a substitution reaction of the alkane, which can occur in presence of diffuse sunlight. So that is nothing but the chlorination of alkane, right? So this is what is the substitution. Now we are going to start with the second property. So we have already done with this thing. Now you know that how to perform substitution. We have done halogenation, we have done sulfonation, we have done nitration. So now we are going to start with the second property. So let's do that. The second property, that is oxidation. Now if somebody asks you about that, what is oxidation actually, so you know that oxidation is a property in which you are going to react a substance with an oxygen, right? So this is what we are doing here. So the first thing we are doing is complete combustion. That means I am going to take an alkane, I am going to burn it, because we have combustion. Combustion means burning of any substance. So I am going to burn it. So as a result, what I get CO2, water vapor, heat and light. The heat evolved is enough to make use of alkane as fuel. So this is what is the complete combustion. But when you carry out combustion in insufficient supply of oxygen, let's say that this, I'll write here, suppose this is my second reaction and I say that this is insufficient. So what I'm going to get is, I'm going to get carbon monoxide in place of carbon dioxide, and the heat evolved will be comparatively less. Or I can write that I am going to get C plus H2O, that is the carbon black. And as you know that carbon black act as a pigment in paint, it is used in making inks and all, so it has a great use actually. So this is what is the incomplete combustion. Now moving on to catalytic combustion. So catalytic, not the combustion, sorry, it is the oxidation. So catalytic oxidation, that means we are adding oxygen but we are going to control the reaction. That means the substance is not going to burn, the reaction will stop at a given product, right, and we are performing this reaction in the presence of catalyst. So what is the catalytic oxidation of alkane? See, I have this alkane, let's say RH. I am going to show an oxidation, so obviously I am going to add O2. Let's write that. Now, when I am doing the reaction in presence of copper, what do I get is, I get alcohol. I get alcohol, right? And when I am going to perform this oxidation in presence of molybdenum oxide, what do I get? I get aldehyde. I get an aldehyde. And likewise, if I talk about, if this is a higher alkane, if this is a higher alkane and I am going to perform this oxidation, so I am going to get alkyne and along with that carbon monoxide and water vapor. So these are three catalytic oxidation which you need to focus. I will just now take an example for that. Suppose I have CH4, I am going to oxidize it in presence of copper. As I told you that in presence of copper it forms an alcohol, so obviously it will give rise to alcohol with one carbon atom, that is the methanol, right. So in second, what I am going to do is, I am going to oxidize in presence of catalyst molybdenum oxide. So what do I get? I get an aldehyde. So what is my aldehyde now? Because this is one carbon compound, so obviously the aldehyde will be of one carbon, that is the methanol. This is what. Third, as I told you, if we talk about higher alkanes, let's say this is my butane, I am going to oxidize it in presence of I am going to oxidize and I am going to provide higher temperature. This actually occur at very high temperature, around 775 Kelvin. So what I am going to get is, this will get converted into alkyne. So let's say this, and along with that you get monoxide and water vapor. So this is actually the catalytic oxidation we were talking about for the alkanes. Last, in presence of KMnO4. Now what happens is, when you oxidize alkane in presence of KMnO4, none of them give the reaction, only the tertiary alkane is able to give the reaction, right. So suppose I have my tertiary alkane, right. So or you can say the carbon atom, the hydrogen which is the tertiary hydrogen will be the correct word. The tertiary hydrogen will show the reaction, will get oxidized only in the presence of alkaline KMnO4, otherwise nothing will get affected. So what I am going to get is, here when I am going to get make it oxidized, this H will turn into the alcohol. So this is what is the oxidation. So you have to keep in mind that when you are performing an oxidation, when it is a combustion, the complete combustion, obviously the product is CO2, water vapor, heat and light. But when we are going to perform in the insufficient supply, we get carbon monoxide and water vapor, and or you can say a carbon black with water. And catalytic oxidation is something when you are doing a controlled oxidation in presence of catalyst. So when you perform a reaction in presence of copper, we get alcohol. In presence of molybdenum oxide, we get an aldehyde. Higher alkanes at higher temperature forms alkynes, and alkaline KMnO4 surely affect the you can say the tertiary hydrogen, right, and that hydrogen actually get converted into the alcohol. So this is what is the oxidation. So we have finished with the oxidation, we have finished with the this thing, substitution. Third we have is fragmentation. So my third property is fragmentation. As the name suggests that the fragmentation means we are going to break the alkanes. This is also called as pyrolysis. We also call fragmentation as pyrolysis, right. So what is going to happen here? We are going to take a big alkane. Suppose I have this propane. I am going to heat it. And when I am going to heat it at high temperature, what will happen? It will break into the small compounds, and that compound is definitely an alkane, and along with that I am going to get one alkene. So let us say out of 3, the 2 carbon is going to act as alkene, because the first member of alkene is not of 1 carbon, we know that it starts with 2, and the rest is alkane. So this is our mixture. So that means whenever you are carrying out the, or you can, when you are heating this thing, the higher alkanes, it gets fragmented actually at higher temperature, giving a mixture of alkane and alkene. So this is what we have. And sometimes when the alkane member is this thing have large number of carbon atoms, at that time you get the mixtures of alkanes and alkenes, right. So this is what is the fragmentation. The next property we have is aromatization. What is that? So let's write here. As the name suggests that in this aromatization, that means it has an involvement of aromatic compound, right. So what is going to happen here? When you take the alkane, I'll repeat again, if you take the member of alkane having 6 carbon or more than that, then only this reaction is going to occur, otherwise the reaction won't occur. Keep in mind, to show the aromatization, what we need is, we need at least 6 or more than 6 carbon atom in a chain of alkane. So let's say we have 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this is my 6. As I have drawn in this shape, you may write in a straight chain, doesn't matter at all, right. So what I am going to do is, I am going to, this thing here, obviously an high temperature is required, and along with that we have chromic oxide and aluminium oxide. This will actually turn this straight chain compound into an aromatic compound. So how many carbon atoms are there? 6. So it will turn into a the aromatic compound containing 6 carbon atom. What is the aromatic compound with 6? Is benzene. We know that. So this gets converted into benzene. And if I say that if I have one more, let's make one more. If the chain comprises of 7, then also it is going to turn into aromatic compound, but one CH will act as a side chain to the benzene. That means we are going to get the toluene, and obviously the reaction is going to take place in Cr2O3 and the presence of Al2O3. So this is what is the aromatization. Keep in mind, for all those reactions we have done, actually we need a high temperature, right. Last reaction is isomerization. Isomerization, as the name suggests, here we are going to get the isomers of alkanes. What are isomers? Isomers are actually the compounds which have the same molecular formula but different structure formula. So here what I am going to show you is, suppose I have, this is my butane. It occurs in presence of AlCl3 and HCl actually, and again high temperature is required. So it gets isomerized actually. So this is normal butane. What do we get as a product? We get this is normal butane, this is isobutane, that is the isomer of butane. Or if we talk about IUPAC, it is butane and it is 2-methyl, as methyl group is present on second carbon, 2-methyl propane. So this is what is the isomerization. As I did for butane, you can do for pentane, you can do it for hexane, but keep in mind that this reaction is not shown by methane, ethane and propane, because minimum carbon atom in a chain which is required is 3. So these are all the chemical